Long ago, in a YouTube not so far away actually, there once was a tit, and he was releasing videos. But then he stopped, and people started asking the ancient question: why you no make videos? So, I'm back. 21 days without a video, I think. Maybe 22 days. I can't believe how much work I did this month. It's quite ridiculous. But I'm now done with that, and I will go back to my previous schedule. Now the problem with that is, even when I had a day off, I couldn't even force myself to play WoW, because it always ends up the same way. I log in, I run around with my druid, I jump squares in the shrine, and then I'm like, well, what should I do? The combat isn't fun enough to be exciting on its own, like, as you can see on the screen, in Firefall, where I just gun shit down. It's a lot more fun than just... I think Yahtzee said it the best. Usually MMO combat is two idiots standing opposite of each other, quoting numbers, and the one who quotes the lower numbers eventually dies. And in Firefall you can fly around, you have jetpack, you have a couple of explosives, and you just shoot shit, and as the recon you have the ability to headshot every damn thing in the world, so it's just fun. WoW combat is good, polished, fun on its own? I don't think so. The fun comes from the little things like optimizing your rotation and doing stuff like that, and dealing with boss mechanics. The combat on its own is quite dull, and it's been like that for years. You know, WoW combat is just not that great. It's polished, yes, it's smooth, and it's one of the best combat systems in MMOs, but it's just not fun enough to keep you playing. Maybe as a warrior, when you just mow stuff down, but then again, warriors in Guild Wars 2 are more fun to play. Casters, I'm not quite sure, but melee classes in Guild Wars 2 are definitely more fun in terms of combat, or how the combat feels, I should say, than you know, melee classes in WoW, because it's just, as Yahtzee said, quoting numbers. And I just can't be arsed. I log in, I'm like, well, could I do a dungeon, maybe? So I just join up for a dungeon, and I remember how terrible the dungeons are, how pathetically easy they are. This is actually one thing I found out about Firefall. If you're reckless, you gonna die. You're gonna die a lot, which I like, of course I do. And it's just, I don't know what to do. I don't want to raid because it's just one raid. I could do the old raids, like Mogushan Vault, but I did all of them so much that I'm just not interested. There is nothing new going on. I wasn't invited for beta because apparently I don't have a big enough YouTube channel, and that's probably the biggest deciding factor in Blizzard's, you know, sending out invites for beta. Do you have a big YouTube channel? Can you hype our game? If no, then fuck off. You're not getting a beta invite. It doesn't matter for that you've been subscribed for years, and you've been playing since the original beta. It just doesn't matter. Right now, Blizzard thinks about marketing because their sub numbers are going down quite rapidly, and I think they're just scared that people aren't gonna come back, and that's the same concern that I have. A lot of people left, many people left, because, you know, maybe Pandaria is their first expansion and they didn't quite know what's gonna happen at the end, which for someone like me, it was obvious. You know, it's gonna be another Dragon Soul, but with Siege of Orgrimmar, which has better bosses, but eventually it's gonna turn into Dragon Soul. People will just hate it because they did it too many times. and the game will become stale and boring and nothing new is going on, and we're just waiting for the next expansion or for beta. So for me, it was kind of a thing that I knew it was gonna happen, but a lot of people didn't know this, and they were just leaving, and nobody knows if they're coming back. So the game is kind of empty, even more so than it was when Pandaria was at its peak. You know, because of flying mounts, you just don't see anyone. The game is just, it feels really empty because of the flying mounts and all that shit. It's just, you log in and you're alone. Nothing is going on, and you're just trying to find someone to do stuff with. On the other hand, you know, Firefall right now, it's just, for me, it's better because, first of all, I didn't have time. I didn't have the time to put into WoW, because if you want to do something in WoW, it usually requires a lot more time than just jumping into Firefall, running around, finding a bunch of people squad thumping and joining them. You know, that's an activity that you can just do for an hour or two and then you're out. You know, whilst, you know, doing a Siege of Orgrimmar raid, it takes a lot longer than that, usually. So yeah, you know, I'm not one of those people that just doesn't have the time to play WoW and complains about it. If I don't have the time to play WoW, I'm just not gonna play WoW. I'm gonna play something else that I do have the time for. And that's pretty much it. I'm just waiting for Draenor, or the pre-patch for Draenor, and in the meantime I'm playing Firefall and Minecraft and Orcs Must Die and Skyrim and Tribes Ascend and Guild Wars 2 and games like that, because they usually have something new, or they have some challenges that I want to do. For instance, like in Orcs Must Die, I'm trying ridiculous setups for certain maps, you know, some challenges that I have found on the internet. For Guild Wars 2, Guild Wars 2 has a lot of patches going on. So usually when you're done with your current thing, there is usually something that has been added somewhere that you can do and, you know, get achievements, or maybe get some good-looking gear for your transmog of sorts. And in Firefall, we just had a patch as well. The population just exploded it because people are starting to finally cover it on YouTube in the way that it deserves, not some, you know, dude going, well, you know, it's just dumb. It sometimes dips below 60 FPS, and therefore I give this game 1 out of 100. Smarky smile. It's just, you know, I don't know. Firefall is good. You should definitely try it out, especially after the last patch, which was Wednesday, I do believe. There's a lot of stuff to do. They've added a couple of new events that are spawning all around the world. You have some, you know, mini bosses that you can encounter. They're kind of like rares or elites in WoW, I suppose, where, you know, the screen shakes and suddenly you have a new waypoint and seismic activity detected. So we're like, oh, what's going on? There is a thing. So you interact with the thing and mini-boss spawns, and then you kill it, you get XP, and you get items. You know, pretty simple. Something small, but something to break the monotony when you're traveling from point A to point B to fight off a melding tornado. You know, something like that. So it's quite good. As you can see, right now, this game does not like fraps, by the way. I need to try and record it with Dxtory, because many mobs on the screen, and usually the game, you know that I prefer performance over good looks, so I have everything turned down, and the game runs, for me, at around 110 FPS. I don't know how some people, for instance, like Force Strategy, he's like, well, I have the very good computer, and this game, the optimization is bad. I mean, like, what the hell? I have a pretty shit computer, and this game, you know, when I turn everything down, it doesn't matter what I'm doing, the game doesn't dip below 80 FPS. And everything above 60 FPS in a first-person or a third-person shooter, for me, is fine. Everything below 60 FPS, that's where the danger territory is of me going, what, this is bullshit, it's not smooth. But, you know, the performance issues, I don't quite get it. Maybe it's on certain systems, but on my system, It's not bad. I'm on a backup computer. I am on a backup computer. I don't have a motherboard for my main computer, so I'm on my backup computer, and it runs fine. It's a pretty shitty PC, you know. So I don't know. So yeah, videos, not sure about them until something interesting happens. I'll probably do kind of a walkthrough of the Draenor pre-patch, and if we get something interesting, some interesting news, like the beta patch notes that we've been getting. It's just ridiculous. I'm scrolling through the beta patch notes, and suddenly I finally see something that happened, that changed. And it's like, well, this warrior shit ability that no one gives a shit about is now 25% weaker. And I'm like, well, is that it? Did you really have to post that you had new beta patch notes for this? I'm just like, well, I can't give a damn right now. So, Firefall, yes, my game of choice right now. This is the game I'm playing the most currently, because it's just good, you know. So, yeah, that's it. That's the news. I'll try to find something to make videos about in WoW, but I'm not sure if I can find anything, you know. I'm all about guides. I love making guides. Or, you know, I could start making Firefall videos, even though people don't care about them on my channel. I might do a couple of them every now and then. So yeah, that's it from me. I thank you all for watching and sticking with me through this hard time, through these hard times. Oh my god, 22 days without a video. And I will see you next time, hopefully with a WoW video. Bye bye.